So today we are going to solve minimum following path sum. Here we are given a matrix, and we have to start from the first row, and we have to we can choose any element from the first row, and we can choose any one element from the next row below the element we have selected, the three elements below that. Okay, and we have to get from first row to last row with the minimum path. So for summary, suppose we have a matrix here, and we are on this matrix is what 1 comma 2, 1 comma 1, or 1 comma 2, it is 1 comma 2. So here we have three options to go to here, here, or here. We have to select that path which will lead to minimum value, minimum sum value from first row to last row, right? We have to select the minimum path of that. So the example we have been given here is 2136. So this is the example we have been given. So here we have one value, right? Here we have to select any, we can select any one, we can start from any of the value, and then we have two here two have two options to select from. So whichever it goes through, suppose it will went from this one, it will lead to 2 6, and then it will choose between 7 and 8. So likewise every element will have three option. If it is not at first or last element, it will have three element to choose from if it is not an extreme element, right? So when suppose we take any path, suppose 2 1 3 6 5 4 7 8 9, suppose we take select 2, and here we select 5, and here we select 7, then sum will be 9 10 11 12 13 14. So likewise we have to check between all path and find the minimum sum, right? So minimum sum can be found like 1 4 and 8, which will be 13, right? And we can find how are we going to find it? So we have to traverse all path, we will have to traverse all path, right, to check what is the minimum path for that. So if we are at 1, we will go to here, then this 6 will go to here, this 5 will go to here, this 4 will go to here, and after traversing it will return 8, it will return 9, and then 4 will return some values, 8 plus 4, right? And we have to check between minimum of all of them. So what we are going to do is, but observe here is that when we go from 2 to 6 and 5, okay, when we have only 2 1 3 6 5 4 7 8 9, when we are at 2, when we want minimum path from 2 and 5, correct, 5 will get minimum path from three of them, below three of them. Then you can observe that when 1 will go to 5, 5 will have to choose again the same option which he has selected in case of 2. So whenever we call from 3, when we will call 5, it will again have to select the same path which he have selected before for 2 elements. So as you can see, this 5 is called again and again from every element. So what we can do is we can use DP, dynamic programming memoization technique, to store uh, like to store value of this element, which is the minimum path for that element. uh, we can store that in a array, in a 2D array. So whenever it is called, when the first time it is called, then only it is calculated, and after that it is just returning from this array. So for that we will, what we will do, we will use backtracking plus DP. So what we are going to do is, we'll call from 2, with traverse from 2 we go to 6 and 5, and then we say to calculate minimum path from 6 and 5, and we go till the last row. Okay, after we are reaching last row, we are going to select the minimum value, like 5. For 5 there are 3 values, 5, 7, 8 and 9. We are going to select minimum from this, which will be 7. So 7 will be returned to 5 in case of 5, and in case of 6 also 7 will be returned. Here we will add 5 plus 7, and here we will add 6 plus 7, and we are going to select minimum value from these. So this will be the minimum value, so we will return it. And here visited will be appended by 5 plus 7 plus 2, which will be in 0 and 0. So here this will be appended 5 plus 7 plus 2. Okay, in case of 1, when we call for 1, this will be called, this will be called, this will be called 9. In case of 9, we don't know, we have calculated 5 plus 7 till here, so it will return directly 6 plus 7 here. We won't need to calculate it again, and here we won't need to calculate it again. But for 9, as it is unvisited, we will have to calculate it. So it will check from 8 and 9 which is smaller. So 8 will be smaller, so it will be returned. So 9 will be 8 here, and it will be returned to 1. So here we have to select minimum between these three, which will be 5 plus 7 plus 1. And for 3 we will again go, and for 3, 5 plus 7 will be called, 9 plus 8 will be called, which minimum is 5 plus 7, which will be returned, and 5 plus 7 plus 3 would be answer for this stage, right? And we will select minimum between first row, so which would be the second row. So the coding part I will explain it after. So yeah, so for code we will going to make a visited array, which will be initialized by none, into will have length of matrix, and this will be inside our temp, because we have to make it 2D. So we are going to make to none into one. We are going to initialize, append it into, so it will make a 2D array of none element. Actually we don't need length of matrix because we won't need the last row. So here after this we are going to call an helper function, which will be in, which will traverse in every row, right? Every row, first row element, which will traverse along the first row element. So here we will not give the parameters. Here we will need matrix, here we will need current, we will need visited, we will need current row, we will need current column. Okay, so here when it will be on the last row, we have to just return that value. So if this will be the base condition, if visit, if current row equal to length of matrix, and it is n into n matrix, we can use length of matrix while current row and current column. So just return matrix of current row, current column. Okay, and after getting it, and we have to call the function 3 times, right? Because we can select 3 values if it is not a extreme value. So if current row is greater than 0, then current column is greater than 0, because we have to select extreme condition for column, we have to check for it, then we can call. Because if row equal to length of matrix minus 1 should be here, then it will be returned. We check the base condition for it. We are going to check the column condition now. So if it is greater than 0, we can call helper function on matrix visited on current row plus 1. It will going to traverse to next row, but we can check the previous column. And if current column is lesser than length matrix minus 1, then we can go to last column. So here we can check between current row plus 1 and current column plus 1, right? And here we can traverse to the next column without checking any condition. So we can do that. Visited current row plus 1 current column, the element just below the element are now in. So this will get called, and we have to get the minimum value between these 3 conditions, right? So I'm going to assign a variable to each of this condition, so that we will get 3 values, and we have to select minimum between v1, v2 and v3 in our right. So we are selecting the minimum value between v1, v2 and v3 in our visited array, which will hold minimum value for all the elements. So we just have to select minimum between these 3, right? And we have to add the current value to it, right? We are getting minimum from the last row, and if we are in last second row, we are getting minimum from last row. Then we have to add the current value to it to make that value, right? And current value will be same in all 3 cases, because it will be added none of this. So just added it, and when we get, we are just returning it, right? So this will be the base condition, and here we are going to call for every element in the first row. So matrix, and then what is that, visited, then current row will be 0, and current column will be I. So but we have to return minimum. So we will get in our visited in our first row, that will be all that is the value we have to check, and we have to iterate and return the minimum value. So what we are going to do is, we are if we are calling from this only, we are going to get minimum of 0th row only. So we are going to get element here from 0th row only. So I am going to assign a minimum value, which will give minimum between this function and min value. So uh, I'm going to initialize it with infinity, and I'm going to return it. So um, without iterating further, I just iterate over it in here. So like, it will save our iteration time or cost time. And yeah, we run this and I think it is to go. Expected error in, okay. V2, yeah, okay. If this condition is not true, then V1, V2, and V3 are V2 and V3 cannot be initialized. So we will just uh, assign them some value. Right, it will be float enough because we are selecting minimum here. Matrix. So yeah, it run now, and yeah, we forgot one condition, that if uh, memoization condition which we make the visited array for. Here if visited of current column and current column is not equal to none, right, then that means we have calculated that value for it. Just return visited of current row comma current column. So now if we submit it, list indexed out of range, yeah. Yeah, it is working.